In the forests of Belarus, on the streets of Berlin, and across the frozen plains of Kursk, a steel beast roared into history. The T-34-85 wasn't just another tank. It was the hammer of the Red Army, the embodiment of Soviet resilience, and the nightmare of Nazi Germany's war machine. When the original T-34 rolled onto the battlefield in 1940, it shocked the Wehrmacht. Its sloped armor, wide tracks, and 76.2 millimeter gun made it superior to every tank Germany had at the time. Hitler's generals were stunned. One even wrote, "We were facing a completely new generation of weaponry." But by 1943, the tables were turning. Germany introduced the Panther and Tiger, tank beasts with thicker armor and high-velocity guns. The original T-34, once feared, was now outgunned and out-armored. Soviet crews often found their shells bouncing off enemy tanks while being destroyed in return. A solution was urgently needed. Enter the T-34-85. Soviet engineers, led by Alexander Morozov, took the lessons of the Eastern Front and created a dramatically improved version of the T-34. The most important upgrade? The new ZIS 85mm S-53 gun, mounted in a larger 3-man turret. This new gun could penetrate 90mm of armor at 1,000 meters, giving it a fighting chance against Panthers and even the dreaded Tiger I. But the upgrades didn't stop there. The turret had thicker armor, the hull was strengthened, and the layout was modernized. The T-34-85 was not a complete redesign. It was an evolution. But it was an evolution that saved lives and changed battles. The genius of the T-34-85 wasn't just in firepower. It was how it balanced protection, mobility, and production efficiency. Soviet design focused on what mattered most, what worked in combat, what could be mass-produced, and what could be operated by relatively untrained conscripts. It was rough. The ride was brutal. Crews had limited visibility, and internal space was tight, but it was reliable. The diesel engine performed well in extreme cold. Wide tracks gave it superior mobility in mud and snow. The German tanks, like the Panther, were technically superior, but required constant maintenance. The T-34-85, by contrast, could drive hundreds of kilometers with basic tools and a wrench. It was the AK-47 of tanks, rugged, simple, and deadly. The T-34-85 first saw combat in early 1944. It quickly proved its worth. At the Battle of Budapest, Soviet armor faced some of the fiercest urban combat of the war. The 85mm gun tore through German defenses and turned fortified buildings into rubble. In 1945, the T-34-85s led the Red Army's final assault on Berlin. They clashed with the last remaining German panzers in city streets and underground garages. While Tiger tanks could destroy them from any range, the Soviet tactics of mobility, flanking, and mass assault often neutralized these advantages. What was it like to serve in a T-34-85? Grueling, loud, cramped, deadly, but many Soviet veterans spoke with pride about their tanks. The addition of a loader and improved radio equipment made coordination and survivability much better than in older models. Still, life expectancy for tank crews on the front lines could be measured in weeks. Crews had to trust each other implicitly. They trained hard, fought hard, and often died together. For many, the T-34-85 was both a weapon and a steel coffin. Let's be clear. In a one-on-one fight, a Panther or Tiger could destroy a T-34-85. But the war wasn't fought on one-on-ones. German tanks were complex, expensive, and few in numbers. The Soviets prioritized quantity. They built over 22,000 T-34-85s by the end of the war. German panzer battalions were often overwhelmed not by superior tanks, but by coordinated Soviet assaults involving dozens of T-34-85s supported by artillery and infantry. The Soviet way of war was brutal, pragmatic, and effective. The T-34-85s didn't retire with Hitler. It fought in Korea against UN forces in the Middle East during the Six-Day War and even appeared in the Yugoslav wars of the 1990s. Its design inspired generations of tank development around the world. In many countries, it remains a symbol of victory and national pride. Statues of the T-34-85 can be found in Poland, Russia, and even Germany. It is one of the most iconic fighting machines ever built. The T-34-85 wasn't the best tank in World War II by technical specs, but war isn't won by specs alone. It's won by will, by numbers, and by the ability to adapt. In the smoldering ruins of Berlin, it was the T-34-85 that stood victorious. In the memories of millions, it remains a symbol of resistance, sacrifice, and ultimate victory. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into World War II history, like, subscribe, and tell us what you'd like to see next.